It's not what happens to you that wounds you, but how you choose to face it. Epictetus. Have you ever felt your mind racing, saying more than you intend, chasing everything but what truly matters, in a world drowning in noise, where snap judgments are mistaken for strength and rash reactions pass for wisdom? Too many lose their way. They're exhausted, scattered, and disconnected from their inner strength. But the Stoics understood this long ago. True strength isn't doing more, it's doing better. Not shouting louder, but knowing when to stay silent. Not thinking endlessly, but directing thoughts with purpose. In this video, you'll uncover how Stoic philosophy for men can sharpen your focus, discipline your mind, and guide purposeful action. You'll learn to master what's within your control, tame your inner voice, and build a presence that speaks louder than words, even in silence. If you've ever felt swept away by distractions, you're not alone. But today could mark the start of reclaiming yourself. Walk with me, because when you think less, speak less, and focus more, the world doesn't own you, you own it. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay with this quiet but powerful transformation. First, thoughts aren't truth. Sometimes a single thought can ruin your day. A quiet whisper creeps in like a shadow. I'm not good enough. Things will never change. What if it all goes wrong before you know it? You're living as if those words were carved in stone, but they're not. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus taught that events don't disturb us, our judgments about them do. How often do we mistake a fleeting thought for truth? How many times do we let untested ideas hold us captive? Picture yourself at a train station. Each thought is a passing train. Some carry regret, others anger, some fear. You don't have to board every train. You can stand firm on the platform, breathe, and watch them pass. This simple act, observing without reacting, is a Stoic tool to cut through inner chaos. When you're trapped in thought, you lose control. But when you step back and observe, those thoughts lose their grip on you. They fade away. I recall a late-night talk with a colleague, a respected leader known for his calm. He admitted waking each morning with a knot in his stomach, not from what happened around him, but from what his mind whispered the moment he opened his eyes. You haven't done enough. You're failing. For years, he lived as if those thoughts were his sentence. Then he found Marcus Aurelius, and clarity struck. He realized he could create distance. He could say, I'm having the thought that I'm failing. That small shift in language changed everything. It was no longer his failure, just a passing thought, like a cloud, like smoke. And if you don't fuel it, smoke dissipates. This isn't about denying thoughts or forcing positivity that's just avoiding reality. It's recognizing your mind generates thoughts automatically. Not all are useful. Many are just echoes of old experiences, inherited fears, or unfiltered reactions. You are not your thoughts. You are the space where they appear. You decide which to nurture and which to release. Stoic practice begins with that awareness. No need for a forest cabin or a long retreat. Just a few minutes each day to pause and observe. When a thought stings, don't rush to react. Don't push it away. Don't cling to it. Just watch. Ask, is this true? Do I have proof? Does it make me stronger or weaker if it doesn't serve you? Let it go, not with anger, but with calm. Like dropping a stone, you no longer need to carry. Bit by bit, You carve out inner space. In that space, something no thought can fake, emerges clarity, calm, and enduring strength. This isn't magic. It's discipline, returning to the present, to your foundation, to yourself. Stoics don't try to stop thoughts. They aim to tame them. They know an unchecked mind is like a wild horse. It drags you where you don't want to go. But a trained mind becomes your ally, lighting the path. Most importantly, it lets you walk that path freely. Next time a voice in your head says you can't, you're not enough, or it's too late, breathe deeply. Don't board that train. Stay with yourself, because thoughts don't define you. How you handle them does. That's true strength. Quiet, internal, unshakable. Second, the power of speaking less. The stronger the soul, the less it needs to justify itself. Marcus Aurelius. Some silences make others uneasy. Some command respect. In a world where quick words are mistaken for intelligence and noise drowns truth, choosing to speak less is rebellion, not against others, but against your own ego, the part that craves the last word, that wants to argue, to be heard. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to master yourself. There was a man in our meetings everyone noticed, not because he was loud, but because he was different. He spoke only when necessary. He listened. He observed. And when he did speak, each word felt carved in stone, not because he shouted, but because not a single syllable was wasted. He didn't argue or over-explain. He spoke only when it mattered, making him unforgettable. Stoics saw this as a virtue. The wise don't speak from habit. They speak by choice. They don't dive into arguments, knowing some battles are won by not engaging. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul grows stronger by staying calm amid the world's noise. The challenge is holding your ground when everything screams, provoques, and demands a response. Speaking less isn't biting your tongue out of fear. It's choosing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's knowing not every blow needs a counter-strike. Not every slight needs a comeback. Not every moment needs your explanation. When you react to everything, you drain your energy. You fracture. You falter. But when you choose purposeful silence, you forge your mind. You become a man who acts with intent, not impulse. Stoics aren't people-pleasers. They live by virtue, and part of that virtue is saying no more than needed. It's measuring your words like a fighter measures his strikes, for a careless word can cut deeper than you intend, and a well-timed pause can diffuse a storm. Recall the last time you spoke impulsively, a jab, a defense, an opinion you didn't need to share. Was it worth it, or did it leave only emptiness and regret? Silence never carries regret. Silence buys you time. It brings insight. It hands you back control. Speaking less makes you more present. It forces you to listen, truly listen, not to reply, not to win, but to understand. Something remarkable happens. Others lower their guard. They sense you're not fighting, but paying attention. And you change too. When you hold back words, your thoughts sharpen. Your speech stops being a reaction and becomes a choice. Epictetus taught that we should master emotions before words. Nothing is freer than not needing to explain yourself. That freedom lives in your breath, your gaze, the calm you hold when you choose silence. Even when you could win with a sharp argument, speaking less isn't just style, it's philosophy. It's a reminder that control starts with the tongue. True respect isn't demanded, it's built. In a noisy world, the man who masters silence becomes a presence that needs no introduction. So when you want to fire back, pause, breathe, ask if it's necessary, helpful, or true to who you want to be. If not, stay silent. Sometimes the greatest strength is saying nothing, and in that silence, you grow stronger, clearer, truer to yourself. Third, control what you can. There are moments when the world seems to turn against you. Everything crumbles at once. Plans fail. People disappoint. Opportunities vanish. The past stings, and the future looms heavy. Amid the chaos, one question cuts through. What now? Most seek someone to blame. Others give up. But some choose differently. They turn inward. They know the only power that can't be taken is the power to choose your response. You can't pick the cards life deals, but you can decide how to play them. Epictetus called this the divide between what you control and what you don't. It's a simple yet brutal principle. It places the weight of your mind on your shoulders. It's not what happens, but how you let it shape you. You can't stop others from letting you down, but you can refuse to let disappointment consume you. You can't rewrite the past, but you can keep it from defining you. When you stop wrestling with what can't be changed and grip what can, you reclaim power. Picture a ship on a vast sea. The captain doesn't control the wind or waves, but he steers the rudder, adjusts the sails, and decides to keep sailing. The Stoic man lives like that captain. He doesn't pretend the storm isn't real or lull himself with illusions. He asks, "Where's my leverage?" From there, he acts. He decides. He builds. I once spoke with a man who lost his business after 20 years. The hardest part wasn't the money. It was the helplessness watching his self-image collapse with every unpaid bill. For months, he drowned in anger, blame, and fixation on what couldn't be fixed. Then he stopped. He took a notebook and drew 2 columns, one for what he couldn't control, one for what he could. Habits, mindset, discipline, the will to start again. From that day, he didn't just rebuild his business, he built inner peace. Clarity gave him strength, and focus made him untouchable. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of an empire, knew not everything was his to decide. He wrote to remind himself that happiness doesn't come from outside. Strength lies in the quality of your thoughts. An emperor could command armies, but not fate. His true power was in how he responded. No complaints. No surrender. Staying true amid chaos. Controlling what you can isn't about perfection. It's about gripping the helm, no matter the storm. It's choosing what stays solid in your heart when everything shakes. Calm, purpose, deliberate action. Live from your core, not your reactions. If you feel lost, pause, breathe, look hard at what you're trying to control, and let go of what isn't yours. Then pour your energy into what you can change, no matter how small. Choosing where to place your effort makes every action purer, stronger, yours. Fourth, focus on what builds you. You've likely felt this. A conversation ends, but you replay it for days. A mistake from months ago keeps you awake. Someone hurt you, and though they're long gone, the wound festers. It's not the event, it's that you keep feeding it. Your mind is fertile soil. What you plant grows. Sow pain, guilt, or resentment, and peace won't bloom. The issue isn't remembering, it's being stuck in it, trapped in that moment. That thought, looping like a broken record. Sometimes, without realizing, you turn your mind into a prison, but you hold the key. It's not about ignoring the past or pretending all is well. It's about steering your attention to what builds you. What makes you stronger? A man who keeps looking back can't move forward, no matter how fast he runs. Effort doesn't matter if it's fixed on what can't change. But when you choose to face the light, something opens within you. It's quiet, not instant, but it opens. That's where real growth begins. Marcus Aurelius. Amid war, betrayal, and illness, wrote in quiet nights that the soul strengthens by focusing on what's essential, what life demands of you today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today, the present, flawed as it is the only place you can act. Your attention is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Each time you catch your mind wandering and pull it back, you train an invisible muscle called self-control. Think of any day in your life. Thousands of thoughts pass through, some fleeting, some heavy, but only a few shape your actions. Only a few drain your energy. The secret isn't stopping them. It's refusing to feed them. To do that, you return to your breath, your body, what truly matters. Someone once commented under a Stoic video, "I watched every time I try to move forward. My mind drags me back to old memories, people who hurt me, and I lose hours as if it's still happening." I get it. We've all been there. But the key isn't escaping those thoughts. It's facing them. Acknowledge them. Then resolve that today, they won't take up more space in you, even for 1 hour. Pour your energy into what pushes you forward. Stoics don't tell you to bury emotions. They teach transformation. Use emotions as anchors to ground you and signals for what to release. Change begins with a quiet choice, where you place your attention. Each time you focus on what adds value, reading, training, building you, tell the world and yourself, you won't waste another day on what can't be changed. You can't control every thought, but you can choose which to keep. That choice, day after day, shapes your character, your path, your strength, a strength that doesn't shout but shows in your eyes, your actions, your quiet persistence while others stay trapped in their storms. Focus isn't a gift, it's a skill, honed through practice. Fifth, accept what is. If you're pained by something external, the pain isn't from the thing itself, but your judgment of it. And you can change that judgment. Marcus Aurelius. Most men don't fall under a burden. They fall fighting it. They want life to be different. They wish others wouldn't disappoint them. They want the past to stop hurting. They long for things to go as planned. But reality doesn't bend. The more you fight it, the more you tire, the more you break inside. It's not the weight that crushes you, it's how you carry it. Acceptance isn't surrender or sitting still. It's stopping the fight against what's already done. It's facing loss, mistakes, betrayal, and deciding they won't define you. You won't build yourself on what went wrong. When you keep wishing things were different, you're chained to illusion. But when you accept, you breathe. From that new peace, you can choose a new path. Someone emailed me recently about chasing his father's approval for years, striving to be the perfect son, the successful professional, the tough man. It was never enough. Then his father passed. The loss was brutal, but heavier were the unresolved years of seeking validation. Reading Epictetus, he realized, freedom begins when you stop begging to be yourself. Living for others' approval is living in invisible chains. That day, he started speaking to himself with respect, not because his father gave it, but because he chose not to need it anymore. Stoics teach, we can't control how the world sees us, but we can control how we see ourselves. Everyone filters reality through their own wounds, beliefs, and fears. If someone shuts you out, it doesn't mean you're worthless. It means they can't see your worth. But you can. You must. Because if you don't, no one else will. Acceptance also means letting go of guilt, the inner voice replaying what you should have done, could have avoided, what you lost. The past can't be rewritten. It can only be understood and used as raw material to build anew. When you accept something is over, you can begin again, not from nothing, but from experience. Resilience isn't just enduring, it's learning, growing through each fall, not with anger, but with purpose, not in haste, but with direction. Each blow that doesn't break you reveals who you are. It shows what you can hold on to, what you can leave behind. Yes, loneliness comes with it. When you stop living for approval, some will walk away. You no longer fit their mold. You're not easy to bear. But that's part of freedom. Being alone with your true self is better than being surrounded yet disconnected from who you are. So next time things don't go your way, don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I do with what I have? Don't wait for life to align before you live. Start now, with what's in front of you, with who you are today. Sixth, embrace silence to find clarity. There's a noise you can't hear, but it exhausts you not from the streets, phones, or others, but from within. An overloaded mind, chasing everything, trying to fix, solve, respond. We're surrounded by stimuli, opinions, comparisons, demands. From waking to collapsing in exhaustion, there's constant pressure. Do more. Know more. Be more. In that storm, you don't lose time. You lose direction. Without silence, everything blurs. When everything feels the same, nothing truly matters. But silence isn't empty. It's a refuge. The only place you can hear what you truly think, feel, and want. You might be on a path you didn't choose, chasing goals that aren't yours, running after wins that don't fulfill you because you never paused to ask if they're truly yours. Silence forces you to ask, not with pressure, but with clarity. When the world quiets, what remains is you. A viewer of my videos shared that he used to pack his schedule tight. He couldn't stand 10 minutes of stillness. It made him feel worthless. But one day, in a moment of panic, he forced himself to sit still. No music, no phone, no one around. 5 minutes, just 5. In those minutes, he wept not from sadness, but from truth. He saw how long he'd been running, how much noise he'd used to drown out what he needed to face. Now, he starts each morning in silence, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. That's where he finds answers no book or advice could give. Stoics don't shy from silence. they embrace it. Marcus Aurelius wrote alone at night, not to boast, but to listen to himself, to order his mind before decisions that shaped an empire. He knew a noisy mind isn't free, it's trapped in the clutter of the unimportant. Epictetus taught that the wise don't speak from habit, but from necessity. What's left unsaid often carries more weight than any words. Silence reveals what's worth your time and what's mere distraction. It shows who you are when the world's gaze is gone, exposing your habits, fears, and deepest desire. But it takes courage. Silence confronts you with hard truths, things you've avoided. Yet in that uncomfortable space, change begins. Not in comfort, but when you stop running. If you're lost, don't chase more noise. Seek silence. Turn off the clamor. Sit still. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you need to hear yourself first. Reconnect with what matters. It's not out there in the next goal or answer. It's in the quiet where everything stops, and you finally meet yourself again. The world won't pause for you. There's always more news, demands, voices. But you can choose not to hear them all. You can create a pause, a sacred space, to return to yourself, not what others expect, not a shadow, but the real you. Only a man who knows silence can truly listen, and only one who listens to what matters lives with purpose. 7th, speak less, think more. Most men don't stumble from what they don't say, they stumble from words spilled in haste. A retort flung in anger, an opinion voiced without care, a response driven by emotion. That's where the damage starts. Not always out there, but within you. Every time you speak without awareness, you drift further from yourself. In a world where everyone clamors to be heard, the man who knows when to stay silent stands out. Picture your mind as a blade, each word a swing. An untrained blade cuts you deeper than anyone else. But if you learn when to strike, when to sheathe, when to sharpen in silence, you become unshakable. Speaking less doesn't mean you're lesser, it means you're clearer, more controlled, more lucid. Not every thought needs voicing. Not every emotion needs airing. Not every comment needs a reply. A man came to me after a family argument, admitting he lost control over something small. Anger had built for weeks from words he didn't say when he should have, from emotions he ignored, from judgments he threw like daggers. In the end, he felt hollow, knowing those words weren't his truth, just echoes of inner chaos he hadn't faced. So he set a rule: pause before responding, even for 2 seconds. It felt like nothing, but those seconds changed how he lived. They gave him space to choose, to think, to respond with calm. Stoics harnessed the power of the pause. Epictetus said, "We're not swayed by events, but by how we interpret them." That interpretation often forms before you speak. The man who masters the moment between trigger and response doesn't just win arguments, he shapes his character, his path, his energy. In tense moments, silence can be your sharpest weapon. Not because you're out of ammunition, but because you know not every fight deserves your fire. In a heated exchange, a single pause can make your words carry more weight than any volume. Words spoken without haste, without fear, without needing to win land differently. Speaking with purpose is an art. Like all arts, it demands practice, awareness, and the courage to resist the noise. Today, We're bombarded with urges to react, to post, to speak, to prove something. But restraint isn't suppression, it's choosing the source of your words. From ego or from your core. From pain or from wisdom. From a need to be heard or from the freedom of not needing approval. That's what separates the impulsive from the grounded. You can't always control your emotions, but you can control how you express them. You can learn to observe thoughts without letting them speak for you. You can train yourself to pause, to breathe, to wait for the right moment. The man who masters his words doesn't just communicate better, he respects himself more. And the man who respects himself earns respect from others. Next time you want to fire back, pause. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong. Not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. Speaking less isn't repression, it's releasing what doesn't need to be said. In those moments, you wield a quiet strength. Few truly master. You can be one of them. True strength isn't lifting heavier weights or shouting louder. It's forged in silence. In the moments you choose thought over reaction. In the days you focus on what you control. Each time you speak with purpose or stay silent with wisdom, you embody 3 pillars that shape a man. Think less. Speak less. Focus more. This isn't a distant ideal. It's a daily habit. A life built through every mindful breath. Every thought you observe without letting it become your truth. When you see thoughts, don't define you. Silence is strength, and focus guides your path. Something shifts, not outside, but within. You no longer need to prove your worth to the world. You carry it inside. You remind yourself that peace, discipline, and clarity aren't for the lucky few. They're skills you forge, sharpen, and guard. So start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Use what you have. Breathe. Pause. Choose. If you feel unsteady, revisit this video. Let these words be a nudge. Your mind doesn't rule you unless you let it. Your voice doesn't lose value in silence.